Welcome to the show, Stephen.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you tonight?
Very good, thanks. Yeah.
All right. Hey, Stephen, for those who are unfamiliar with the story of Stuck, can you tell us what the plot of the movie is?
Well, there's this homeless guy wandering the streets, and he gets hit by a car. This woman who's a little inebriated, a little drug-affected, hits him with the car. He goes through the windshield. She panics. She drives him to her garage and kind of waits for him to die, but he doesn't die. And it is, as you say, based on a true story. That's what makes it all the more compelling.
How many weeks shooting was it total?
Oh, I think about 5 in total, but I think I did 4.
4, and how many weeks in the windshield? I mean, seriously, yeah.
A lot of time in the windshield. I mean, most of my role is spent with the head through the windshield, no question. And it was,
torturous.
It was. No one would help me, and it got worse and worse.
It did. We won't give away the ending. I'm only glad I didn't have
a bigger budget, because I'd have been there longer.
And the window longer.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen, what attracted you to this true life role?
Well, you know, I go by the scripts, and this was a really, really brilliant script by John Straczek and Holmes. Now, this isn't like a supernatural film, but the horror is real, and so I just couldn't refuse, really.
Did you follow any of the true story that happened to the fellow that was hit?
Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I read about it when I said do the movie, but I hadn't known about it before. But in fact, of course, the poor man actually died in
real life.
In the real life, and the woman is in prison. But our story goes a little differently, which I don't think he could have taken it if he died. You know, it would have been hard. But there's a big story in there, which is that this guy who's homeless and he's on the way out, he's on the way down. In terms of temperamentally, you know, he's just in a moral collapse, and when he faces death, he climbs back up and fights his way back. So it's kind of inspiring.
You had met the family of the real-life victim. Could you talk a little about that?
I met his son after the screening in Dallas, Texas, and I was very moved by that, and it made me consider that sometimes we do things without thinking about it completely. I accepted a good script, and I didn't think about the implications for the people, the family of the poor man, you know. But I don't think we did him an injustice. I think
no, not at all.
And it certainly wasn't meant to be an exploitation movie. It was meant to be a kind of tribute to spirit, to someone's spirit. And all I can say is, I send my best to his family, and I was proud to represent the guy on screen.
And isn't it a fine line, really?
I mean, it's played with great sympathy for all the people, even the woman who's becomes more and more of a monster as she finds herself in this situation with this man bleeding to death in her garage. But even you feel sympathy for her, because she's very pressured economically and in her job, and all of the characters are under a lot of economic pressure. The only guy who seems to be making any money is the drug dealer. It's that kind of world, all people below a certain economic level, and that's what makes the movie interesting, because there are an awful lot of people living below that kind of level,
and it says a lot about this country. Well, I guess everywhere in the world at this point, where how close to being jobless and homeless, just one firing.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
He's slipping through the net, and he doesn't know how to get back up. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's everywhere.
You worked with some brilliant directors over the years, Stephen, including, of course, your long collaboration with Neil Jordan. How did Stuart Gordon stack up to some of those people?
Stuart Gordon's an authentic director. He did this for very little money, really, but he knows how to put a narrative together. That's Neil Jordan's greatest strength, is his narrative. And once you have a good story, let's be honest, that still makes a good movie. He's a great storyteller, Stuart Gordon. Of course, he has a background in the theatre as well. He's directed David Mamet in the theatre, and he knows how the thing works, So I loved working with him. So also a very nice man, and he likes a lot of lobster.
He likes a lot of lobster.
You've done a lot of genre films, horror films over the years, Stephen, starting with Cry of the Banshee in 1970, of course, Interview with the Vampire, Fear.com, In Dreams. Are you attracted to dark roles, horrific roles?
Well, I suppose, when you're a kid and you think you want to be an actor, I mean, to play a vampire is one of the things you would like to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, you always wanted to play a cowboy, but there are really very few cowboy movies anymore. But I did want to play. I certainly wanted to play a vampire.
And you played werewolves too, like in Wolves. You played all the monsters, it seems.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, I had to rip my own face off, and a wolf started to grow out of my face. That was more uncomfortable, to be honest, than being in the windshield.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was 7 hours in makeup every day before you could shoot. It is uncomfortable, but then you forget that when you see it. It's just so exciting to be in a feature movie that it's still exciting,
And, I guess, at least over here, I don't know about in England or Ireland, but over here, the Crying Game really put you on the map. And, and how did you feel about that movie? I mean, that was such a groundbreaking movie in so many ways. And it was just such a heartwarming movie that somebody could just love somebody for who they are and nothing else mattered.
Yeah, I think that's the wonderful thing about it, that this guy begins to see through all the stereotypes and actually see the person there. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter if it's black or white, he sees the person. It was a kind of heartwarming film and a courageous film.
Mm-hmm, yes, very much so.
But they went crazy for it here.
Yeah.
And you were rewarded with an Oscar nomination.
Yes, I was. It was very special, and I think Neil Jordan won an Oscar for the screenplay. It was big at the time, but it was Miramax, a big thing by Miramax. Harvey Weinstein sold it very, very well. The secret that it's no secret anymore, but that the girl turned out to be a boy.
When you read the script, did you know that surprise was coming? Or?
Well, I never read the first, because I know Neil very well, and we had dinner together, and he says, "Look, I'm going to do this movie, and I want to know if you have any interest in it." And he just told me the story because he's a brilliant storyteller and he loves telling stories. Mm-hmm. So he told me the story, and then he got to the big crucial moment, and he said, "And she's a man," and I said, "I'll do it."
At that moment you said, "I'll do it"?
I said, "I'll do it." Of course, I knew it was a brilliant coup.
It was a twist, yeah. It was a good twist.
Superb.
So, what keeps you interested and excited about acting is just being so particular about the scripts that you work on.
Well, the scripts are what feed you, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
In my view, they are. I don't think you get anywhere without a good script. I mean, maybe that's an old-fashioned thing to say, but I find, even if you're getting a little weary of things, you get a great script, your enthusiasm becomes revived immediately.
Right. Well, it's so funny because didn't Sam Shepard write a play with Patti Smith called Lobster Man?
Yeah, sure.
That was so weird. I mean, I loved it, but it was so bizarre.
I know, and then the lobster man arrived at the door, and he was a lobster.
I know, he was really a lobster. It was so funny. I just really liked that play. It was great. That sounds
like Metamorphosis, which you're also doing, or just did a film version of, right?
Supposed to do, but for some reason that's gone quiet. Yeah, yes, I know. And sometimes you're lucky to hang around, and you do well. So I'm hoping Stuck will do that. It got fantastic reviews here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, deservedly so. I loved it. I can't wait to see it again. I love movies where everybody starts out somewhat normal, everybody's flawed, but they make that first lethal mistake. That one bad choice. And then it just escalates, and that's what makes a great movie or a great play. Well, congratulations. Everybody really seriously has to see Stuck. It's so good. And so thank you so much for joining us.
It
was an honor.
Thank you, Stephen.
Have a great night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too, Lasse.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
What a wonderful guy.
That was great, yeah.
He's so awesome. I know Richard...